Explosive music. Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Do you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my lord.
That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs.
What is, my lord?
Nothing!
Is it just me, or does this seem super raunchy? It's not just you. There are at least 3 euphemisms in there. What were they? Oh, there's the lie in your lap innuendo. There's the country matters pun. And then there's the nothing double entendre.
I'm not sure I got that last one.
In Shakespeare's time, In Shakespeare's time, nothing was a stealthy euphemism for female private parts. He's blushing.
Sorry I asked.
Now that my glove is proof half made, you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fears grow great, great love grows there. What is it, Yuri? I was just thinking. Earlier when they were doing the dumb show, it was a play inside a play inside a play, which we are watching from inside an entirely fictional world to begin with. So we're on 4 recursive beta levels, nice. At least. Nerds!
Oh, my offense is rank, it spells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon a brother's murder.
This is my favorite part. Most people know the to be or not to be soliloquy, but I prefer this one. Is there any other soliloquy? I think I don't know. What is it you like about this one so much, Yuri? Well, when it's acted well, like here, it's exquisitely emotionally complex. The king is just a tormented soul trying to save himself, but he can't because of his own web of evil acts. That is pretty interesting. See, Yuri, I can see you sneaking over to the snack basket. Let's just bring you back a mini candy bar, okay? Can do!
This man shall set me packing. I love the guts into the neighbor room.
Oh, hell yeah, now we're getting into it. Poor Polonius.
He was pretty dumb.
Yeah, he sort of had it coming. Still though, Hamlet, buddy, you're really on the clock for this killing the king thing. You've waited and now there's collateral damage. Gotta get going, man. No use procrastinating. He leans over and whispers to Samantha. I can't wait to see how she reacts to the ending. Oh, she'll probably love it. Okay, everyone, this is a good place for one more break, then we'll come back and finish. See you back here in a little while. Mock and Yuri are quietly talking together. Time to go see what they're doing. Oh, God. How are they doing? Excuse me. It would be good for them, and you, I think. But it would be intrusive. That time is theirs. Well, yes, but it doesn't sound like you'd be walking all the way back. They'd still have plenty of time together with just themselves. Just think about it, okay? I think it could make you very happy. Is it? Yes. Sorry, it got so wrapped up in what I was talking about that I didn't notice you there. Hello. Actually, that reminds me. I should tell you something, Yuri. Well, to be honest, I don't know if I should. I'm not sure if it would be bad or good to do so. But I think all things considered, I should try it. I hope you'll forgive me if I shouldn't have said it. Or if it upsets you, I hope it won't. The likelihood of it being upsetting increases as you increase my anxiety over what it is. Thanks for using increase, like 2 words apart. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so the game has been following you around all day. They know more or less everything you've been up to today. For how long? I'm pretty sure from the time you woke up to when you walked into the club. And how much can you tell about what I've been doing and thinking? Well, I know you probably cooked this morning, and it seemed like you were thinking about doing so again after everyone liked your poem. But I didn't. I'm trying not to. And I don't have to justify that to you. You're right, you don't. And I only knew about it because... Yeah, I know. I wasn't able to figure out any other details except maybe for one. Let's see. I got up, I brushed my hair, I showered. Don't worry, I was using your point of view, and I think it had a visual blackout. Oh, well, let's see. What else could have happened? After the shower, I had some tea, and then I walked to school. That's why you wanted to talk about walking with Sayori and MC. You could read what I was thinking. No, nothing like that. I just felt like you were lonely. And that felt odd because you're usually very comfortable and secure in your own company. Then I heard you and Sayori talking, and you were weirdly flustered by the topic of walking together. And I sort of put two and two together. So I decided that I should take a risk and talk to you about it. I don't want anyone here to feel lonely if they don't have to. Well, thanks, Monica. Even though it's distressing to realize that the audience knows and saw, it's good to know that you wanted to help me. I'll think about it, okay? Thanks, Yuri. I'll try not to talk about this kind of thing unless it's important. Thank you. That helps to keep me from constantly worrying about it. And as for you out there, it's really hard to live knowing you might be being spied on at any time. I get that you don't get to control where you see. Just don't judge, okay? Everyone has their secrets. I bet you do too. So try to have some sympathy for me and don't be mean. There's some sympathy for all of us. Now shoo you, there's some stuff I want to talk to Yuri about in private. After that, we should probably finish the movie. Break's been long enough. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, Zach. There's Rosemary. What's for remembrance? A pray, love, remember. And there is pansies. That's for thoughts. There's fennel for you, and columbines. There's rue for you, and here's some for me. We may call it herb grace or Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered. Oh, when my father died, they say he made a good end. I assume all those flowers mean something. They do indeed. Oh boy, here we go. She gives you the first couple meanings for free, which also tells you to look for meaning in the ones that come after. Like she says, Rosemary's the flower of memory, which maybe she's interested in because of the death of her father. Pansies are for thoughts too, but it might be more accurate to say they're about mindfulness and keeping things in the forefront of your mind. So maybe that's another one she's choosing because her dad died. Now after that it gets tricky. Fennel is the flower of flattery, while columbines are the flower of deceit and love. They were associated with male infidelity. Depending on how you choose to stage it, Ophelia could either be mocking Claudius with this, or thinking about Hamlet betraying her. This expression pretty clearly goes with the second, I think. Rue, as the name implies, symbolizes bitterness and regret. That's where we get our modern word rue from. I didn't know that. And this has Hamlet, so everyone is rueing at this point in the play. Har har. Rue is also considered an abortion herb, so if you want to read it as meaning that Ophelia aborted a child, you can. Daisies are about innocence and gentleness. It's hard to say exactly what she means by this without seeing a particular staging. But the safest interpretation is that this flower is in context, meant to be an ironic comment about herself. Finally, there's the violets, which all withered when her father died, she says. And that one's easy enough, it symbolizes loyalty and fidelity, so what she's saying is pretty clearly praise for her father.
I never knew flowers had all these complex meanings. That makes me love them even more.
Whose grave is this, sirrah? Mine, sir.
Ah, he's got you there.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in't.
Seriously, int? Slow your roll, Shakespeare. Call me your apostrophe means.
You lie thou on't, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in't, and yet it is mine. Thou dost lie in't, to be in't and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick, therefore thou liest.
Score one for Hamlet.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill get away again from me to you. What man dost thou dig it for? For nobody, sir. What woman, then? For none neither. Who is to be buried in't? One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead. How absolute the knave is!
And score one for the Gravedigger. That was some pretty rapid-fire wordplay. Shakespeare was pretty fond of word games. This is another reason you need to read Rosecrans and Guildenstern during dead. I will. I don't know who the hell this is.
Take up the body! Such a sight as that becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldiers shoot!
The credits roll. Wow, abrupt change of music. That was actually pretty epic. He got there in the end. Although pretty much everybody paid a terrible price because of his foot dragging. Oh, that was actually a really good idea, Yuri. It's a very literary experience. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you all enjoyed it.
Is it email time now? I'm actually starting to get kind of sleepy already.
That's because of all of the speeds you made earlier. It is time for emails, Sayori. Do you know how to get it set up now?
Yeah, I think so. Give me a sec.
While she's doing that, don't forget that you can email us questions by sending them to the address, which is that thing again. Thanks for all your questions over the last week. We got so many. Sorry if I don't answer your words in the club. We only have time to answer a few. Shut up, Watch. We're not done. No. Ah.
Okay, and...
Oh, wrong button. I'm kind of interested what everyone's process is in when writing poems. I have to write poems a lot. And oh god, I can't read through your head. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cave. I can't read it now. Oh, this is a great question. For me, I always needed to just get my pen moving in some way to start. I like to use a really nice fountain pen with a sizable nib against rough grained paper. I like the feel of it, and it helps me want to move the pen around on the page. That's often the key to writing anything. Just make sure you're writing something, and don't worry about if it's good or makes sense. Then later, you can come back and edit it if you need to. So just keep scratching something with your pen, even if it's doodles or if you're typing. Just make sure you keep in that typing rhythm. That's Monica's writing tip of the day. Oh, now you capitalize the whole... Well, at least you fix it later. I feel like I've heard something like this before. There was plenty of original advice in that one. But back to the question. Generally, I just sit there with my pen sitting on the ed page until inspiration strikes. Usually, I just start writing something or other just to get something down, no matter what it is. A lot of time, because I'm just trying to write whatever, many of my words end up being nonsense. That's probably a lot of the reason my poems are often so abstract. Plus, my first drafts are always hideous before I edit them, and not just because of the weird disordered words. Sometimes I just kind of zone out when I'm stuck for an idea, and then I find that I've rested my pen onto the page too long.
And you got a dark puddle of ink?
And then this huge pool of ink has soaked the page, sometimes right through onto whatever's underneath. That's where I got the imagery for your reality from. No kidding. Finish my drink, it's gone. But once I feel like I've written everything I wanted to get out, I go back and look at what I've written. Then my editing process is that I try to think about what I was trying to get across with my stream of consciousness writing. And then I make it a little more presentable and orderly. I usually don't change too many of the actual words. The edits are like 80% formatting, and transcribing it onto a new piece of paper so it looks less messy. I strongly recommend random assemblages of 20 or so loosely related words in no particular order. Of course you would say that. But seriously, it's been different every time for me. I'm definitely not at the point where I can just go with the flow like Monica can. Sometimes I do just start writing and get on a tear where everything works. But for the most part, I have to do a lot of counting syllables on my fingers and looking in rhyming or dictionaries, especially when I try to write poems to fit a certain format. Occasionally I try to write things more freeform, but your prose has to be really eloquent for that, kind of like Yuri's. And I definitely am not on her level of her eloquence either. So basically, I'm just trying a bunch of different stuff right now and seeing what works.
I almost always know what I want to write about straight away. I just have to find the right words to give it the right feel. For me, most of the work gets done really quickly, and then I spend a long time finding just the right words or phrases for certain parts. My parents used to read me nursery rhymes and sing to me a lot growing up, so I have a pretty good feel for meter, though the rhymes sometimes give me trouble. Sometimes after I've written something, I decide the rhyme sounds too cheesy or whatever, so I rewrite it. In general, it doesn't take me very long to write a poem, though. Which is convenient since a lot of time I put off writing my poems until pretty late in the week. I have plenty of ideas brewing all the time, I just have to get them on paper, which I'm usually not in the mood to do. So when the mood finally hits, I'm able to write it all down really fast.
At the risk of sounding pretentious... Oh, Yuri, it's okay, we know. Like that's ever stopped you. Atmosphere is really important to me. I really need the right environment to begin with. A quiet, clean, slightly dark room with a fresh smell really helps me feel creative. I don't usually drink tea at the same time, though. It's distracting. I really empathize with with what Monica said about having a good, gritchy feeling pen and paper. The tactile part of the experience is very important. It makes what you're writing feel weighty and grave, like you're etching in stone. And usually for my poems, I want to represent how I feel, or some idea I have, with one or several visual images. Pardon me, had to cough, muted it. Think about it this way. Think about the number 8 now, just visually in your head. Do you see it in letters, or do you see the numbers? Does it have a color? People very often have internal colors that they associate with numbers without thinking about it. Especially the one-digit numbers. 8 is kind of orange for me. But to get back to the point, visualizing everything, even things that aren't normally visual, helps in writing poems. I probably over-rely, okay, I just didn't read that word right. Over-rely on visualizing things, and then describing them as gracefully as I can manage. Sometimes it's kind of a crutch that limits what I write about, and how I write about it. but it's a technique that results in poems that I really like. Although I didn't really do that for my tea poem this week. That one was just me writing down all the wonderful things about tea that I could think of. Maybe I ought to try that more often given the reaction it got from the club. You totally should. Although you'll pretty quickly run out of things you love as much as tea. That's certainly true. As for me, I like my poems to have a big impact. So when I write, it's a little like writing a joke. You've got to have that really good punchline. Except instead of being funny, it has to be something that makes the reader suddenly stop and think. And then they're like, oh, I get it. Honestly, that part's not the hard part. It just takes a little bit of cleverness. The hard part is having an idea that's worth writing about in the first place. So you have to constantly be on the lookout for ideas. I've gotten a little bit better at reasoning stuff from my life rather than just generic bullshit. It's almost gotten reflexive at this point, which is good, I think. Like when my soccer coach was lecturing me, I was thinking, oh man, this is going to make for a great poem. So yeah, I guess my process is to slowly become a weirder and weirder person until I'm an unrecognizable poem machine. Feel free to steal that method if it works for you, Internet. Next question, if you would, Sayori. Do you all watch anime, and what is your favorite? Asks Sleeve Esther. I've never really watched anime. I mean, I've been around while it's been on, but I haven't really seen anything to know what most of the shows are or whether I like them. It's just something I've never really gotten into. I've seen one anime series all the way through, but that's the only one I've ever bothered with. And that's Evangelion. So I guess it's my favorite by default. It is pretty well written. It's a pretty layered story with very rich characters. Even though the overall plot isn't that complicated, the story succeeds in getting emotional buy-in based on the characters' interactions. And it's full of some pretty great literary devices. It's chock full of allusions and metaphors. Metaphors is the word, Eli. I guess that I like the visual style too. It's not the most impressive, but it's effective and it keeps the focus on the characters. Other than that, I haven't really watched any anime, at least not comprehensively. Alright, time for you guys to receive the wisdom of the real anime fans around here.
I definitely watch anime. Probably not as much as MC and Natsuki, but I definitely watch more than most people. I really like slice of life animes in general, or just lighthearted fun stuff. Overly dramatic or tragic stuff is just not what I need most of the time.
But I thought you liked things bittersweet, Sayori.
Like Evangelion is cool, but I always feel so bad for everyone in it.
Poor Shinji.
Yeah, Rei and Asuka too. Poor everyone. Anyway, this first one doesn't really count as an anime because it's a movie, but it's sort of the same. I love Kiki's Delivery Service. I'm not going to spoil any of it in case any of you guys haven't seen it yet, but go watch it, seriously. Anyway, for actual anime like TV shows, let's see. For my absolute favorite, I can get it down to 2, but I can't choose between those two. Which is odd because one of those is pretty silly and the other is fairly serious and artistic. It's kind of like saying I can't pick between a classical symphony and a pop hit as my favorite song. But I think that sometimes things can be good even if they're considered less high art by most people.
Just tell us what they are.
Anyway, my two favorites are Non Biori and Hayore, and Nyaruko-san.
I have no idea what either of those are.
Nyaruko-san is a silly one. I was watching it last week with MC.
Sayori, your voice is killing me.
It has fun action sequences, a lot of anime references, and it's hilarious and zany. Sometimes it's pretty racy, but that's part of the fun. And it's always totally harmless in the end and never goes too far. Now, on the other hand, Non Biori is just a very beautiful show. If you've never heard of it, it's basically about the kids who attend this elementary school way out in the country with not many people around. It focuses on their lives and interactions with each other and what life is like in such a rural area. Nothing really happens when in the show, it's just little bits of their lives and you gradually get to know them. All the characters are super adorable and this story really gives you the warm fuzzies. If you ever need to warm up a cold, sad heart, you should watch this anime. So yeah, Hayore and Nyaruko-san is my favorite for having fun and Non Biori is my favorite for feeling happy. Okay, so I have a single favorite, but I have to give some honorable mentions out first. You can't call yourself a true anime fan unless you've tried Cowboy Bebop, Kill la Kill, and Ghost in the Shell. Okay, I'm not a true anime fan. Personal favorites of mine that aren't objectively required include One Piece and... Go on, Natsuki, tell them it's nothing to be ashamed of. Even if it does lead to harsh, unrelenting mockery from all your friends. And Naruto. It's a fun show and I dare any of you to say otherwise. Well, no, I've got my own opinions about it. My favorite anime, though, and this is, like, objectively true, is fucking JoJo. Of course it's JoJo. It's got everything you need in an anime.
It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got insane, hilarious comedy, it's got a great story.
It's also got the ability to occasionally make you feel like you just took a bunch of drugs.
This is true, and that's part of its appeal. Also, as a certified god-tier meme lord, JoJo has, like, the best memes by far and plenty of them. So final answer, JoJo. Deal with it.
Most of the shows everyone's mentioned so far, I would agree, are top tier. Naruto-san is really fun, and I've enjoyed watching it, but it's not quite the same level of artistry as a lot of them. But Non-Non-Biori is really top-notch. Evangelion is, of course, an absolute classic. Most of Natsuki's list was really good stuff that you should watch, except for Naruto. And JoJo is great, but Natsuki's insane for thinking it's the best anime. I don't know, MC, I feel like you would be enough of a normie to really appreciate Naruto.
You watch your mouth, boy!
So, onto my list. First of all, hey Yuri!
Yes?
If you ever do want to get into watching anime, I have the perfect one for you.
What's that?
It's called Death Note.
Of course! Brilliant call, MC!
I know, thank you.
Why do you think I would like it?
So one day this guy is walking along.
And would you believe it? He's a loner high school student. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Anyway, he's walking through this school and he finds this notebook. And it turns out that if you know someone's name and face, you can write the name of this book and they will die. And you can specify a cause of death, and no matter what, they will die exactly as you say. The show is all about how this level of power corrupts people no matter how good their intentions are.
That actually does sound very interesting. I'll have to try it sometime.
So yes, I like Death Note. I guess my guilty pleasure anime are... anime. Anime is plural, whether it's singular or not. Are Bleach and Metal Fullmetal Alchemist. They're kind of passé nowadays. Steins Gate is very close to being my favorite, but it's not quite there. It's tied for my second favorite. My other not quite favorite is Code Geass. It's the ultimate mecha anime. It shares some elements with Evangelion in that it has mecha and it uses lots of illusions and metaphors, especially religious ones. But the feel is very different. Evangelion is angsty and focuses on a small part of the world. Code Geass is more epic and grand and filled with all the big war stuff guys like. Well, yeah, but there's more to it than just the violence of it. I like the political scheming and strategy stuff. Anyway, yeah, definitely watch Code Geass. But my actual favorite, which hopefully needs no explanation, is One Punch Man.